Welcome to the Mount Vernon Community Participation Planning Meeting. This is a hearing that we're holding on the Community Development Block Grant Funds. Today is January 31st, 2018. The time is 6:12 p.m. My name is Richard Thomas, Mayor of the City of Mount Vernon, also the Chairman of the Urban Renewal Agency. To my left, your right, is Chantel O'Carter. She is the Commissioner of the Planning Department, as well as the Executive Director of the Urban Renewal Agency. To my far left is the Deputy Planning Commissioner, Sylvia Bolivar, who has joined us to help make sure that we move the department in a great direction. And I just saw who's coming in right now. We have two members of the City Council. I see Councilmember Marcus Griffith. Raise your hand. There you go. And Councilwoman Janice Walker. Let's give them a round of applause for joining us this evening. So we are going to, I'm going to pass this off for a moment to Commissioner O'Carter, who's going to talk a little bit about how the meeting is structured, some of the purpose. You may hear from Deputy Commissioner Bolivar about the purpose and structure of this as well. And then I'll provide some brief remarks and we'll go on with the hearing.
Thank you, Mayor Thomas. Good evening once again. First, I would like to thank you all for showing up today to our planning meeting. Just a few comments regarding the structure of how the meeting is going to be run. So the purpose of this hearing is about 4 different purposes. So the first purpose is that we need to decide on whether we're going to change our program year for our CDBG fund granted monies. What does that mean? Currently, our program year is from January to December of 1 year. However, sometimes, or most of the times, our federal funds are not allocated until October of a year. So then we're playing catch up. So what we are suggesting is that we change our program year from July to June, so that if our funds come in October, we have enough time to get programs funded and to move in an expedited way. So I'm going to be talking to you about certain things that we are proposing, and then at some point, Ms. Bolivar will go through the PowerPoint that you see up there, and then there will be time for comments. The comments that we're really seeking for you guys is to tell us what you think that this city needs and how we can use the federal funds that we have to fund those programs. So we'll be talking about programs such as youth programs or programs that benefit homelessness or housing issues or fixing our sidewalks. Each speaker, we will go by topic and we'll say, okay, who wants to talk about youth services or a specific program, and we'll welcome you up to the front to speak, and 2 to 3 minutes, that's each person's allotted time to express their interests or concerns. We also want to get your feedback on how we should expend our 2018 fund allocations. We have not received the 2018 funds as yet, but we want to get your input now so that we can be ahead of the target of when we have to submit our application. And we'll go into more detail with that. But I do know that we have, the mayor and...
So let me do this. Let's recognize that the City Council President, Lisa Copeland, has also joined us. She's in the back of the room. Thank you, Council President Copeland. And I think it's, it's appropriate. It's appropriate that perhaps let's go to the PowerPoint. So Sylvia can explain, and you can explain the process and what's here, so we can go forward and understand what we're doing.
First, we'd like to have Dr. Morton, or Commissioner Morton, say a few words as a part of the URA board, and just also as a part of the City of Mount Vernon.
Good evening, everyone. Okay. So tonight we come together as a community trying to make sure that we are meeting all of the national objectives that HUD has given to us, but also to make sure that we also are kind of meeting the needs of the community as we begin to plan, redesign, reorganize what we are doing with the funds that are most needed for the community. What we're going to ask is that we make sure that we are being very respectful in kind of our comments. Remember, we got children that are in the room, so we want to make sure that the children understand and know through the modeling that we will do as we get through some very difficult times. This is what we know, that Donald Trump has already decided what he's going to try to cut and where he's going to try to cut. Mount Vernon is one of those types of communities in which we are going to be the recipients of those cuts. And so therefore we are trying to stretch the limited funding that we have and have the greatest bang for the dollar, or the word bang for the buck in what we need to do, and especially with our most vulnerable. And so that's it. So that's the goal of today. As a community, we come together to do that, and it's a very hard and difficult task for us because there's so much that we need and so little funds for us to do it with. All right? Everybody agree? Yes. We are family, community to try to make sure that we make our point, but we make our point appropriately. All right? Thank you.
Thank you all for being here this evening. I'm delighted to see all of you in the room to hear about the proposed recommendations. What I want to do is take 5 minutes to go over the presentation, just an overview of the program, because I think there is a need to provide clarity on what the intent of this program is. And then we will go ahead and provide an opportunity for everyone to provide public comments. I also want to say that we're working very hard to change the narrative, to create transparency, and we seek as much community input as possible, and that is why the online survey was created, to have an opportunity for everyone within the city to provide comments on how we address the needs of the most vulnerable in our community. So for those of you who have filled out the survey, thank you. That will be part of the official record. We will post it on our website. We will also provide it to HUD as part of our official record. So thank you. For those of you who are Mount Vernon residents who have not had an opportunity to fill out that survey, we really seek your input. It is on the city website. It should take you no more than 5 or 10 minutes at the most, but we would welcome your input. We seek your input, and first and foremost, thank you for being here today. With that, I'd like to just begin with the presentation. The agenda is going to be an overview of the program, what the national objectives are, what the income limits are, and it's also in your PowerPoint. So all of this is in your PowerPoint. You also have a copy of the CDBG map. It's also here so that you can see it as well. We also have what are the CDBG requirements, what is the participation plan, the projected timeline, next steps, and community input. So I'm going to begin by talking about the purpose is to address the needs of the most vulnerable in our community, to address the needs of low income and moderate income persons and areas. The 2017 allocation was $1,435,516 of CDBG funds for 2017 and $355,206 in home funds. We are required by HUD to submit our 2018 action plan by August 16th of 2018. That is a drop dead deadline. Our goal is to submit it prior to that. And so we wanted to start this process early to give everyone an opportunity to provide input. And normally it's a 6 to 8 month process. So we wanted to give the community an opportunity to provide input, to have time to thoughtfully put together an application and go through that review process. Next. So not less than 70% of the CDBG funds must be used for activities that benefit low and moderate income persons. So that is important for all of you to know. So not less than 70%. There are 3 national objectives that those funds need to address. Either one of those 3. Directly benefit low and moderate income persons, aid in the prevention or elimination of slum or blight, or meet an urgent need. So at least 51% must be low and moderate income persons when we're looking at addressing the needs of individuals. The following groups are presumed to be low and moderate income individuals: elderly, severely disabled, abused children, illiterate persons, battered spouses, homeless persons, persons with HIV/AIDS, and migrant farm workers. And then we have in here examples of what public service, so there's a 15% cap on public service activities. You have certain examples of what those are, but they're not limited to that. You also have under public infrastructure, examples like sidewalks, street lights, traffic lights. Those are examples of public infrastructure, and we are allowed to do that because that would benefit the community, but it must meet 51% of the residents who live in a low moderate income area. And that is where the CDBG map comes into place, because that tells you where those CDBG targeted areas are. We have also posted it on the website. Second national objectives, addressing the slum and blight. So an example would be the demolition of zombie homes. We can use funds to do that. Third national objective is urgent need. An example would be national disasters like Hurricane Sandy. This is a list of the 2017 CDBG income limits. So you see by household, as you're looking to submit an application, we have to make sure that you're meeting the income limits. And we provided that for you in this PowerPoint. It is also posted on our website. And this is for 2017. Our CDBG map. And then the requirements. So we have required, in order to receive funds, we need to do a 5-year consolidated plan. We have one that goes from 2015 to 2019. And in 2018, this year, we're going to need to begin the process of thinking through what we're going to do for the 5-year consolidated plan that we will need to submit to HUD by the end of 2019. So we will start that process early because that takes 8 to 9 months. We also have to do a fair housing impediment study, and that will also be required in order to be able to do this 5-year con plan. And we will do a lot of stakeholder meetings to get your input. And the purpose of the 5-year consolidated plan is to provide a shared vision and purpose of what are those needs of the community and how do we go about it. So your input will be very important because then those dollars that we do receive moving forward will be allocated around those shared purposes and vision that the community has set as a priority. So a copy of the 5-year consolidated plan is available on our website. Here are what the high priority needs are that are in the 5-year consolidated plan. It's improving housing options and social and supportive services for people, including but not limited to people with special needs, individuals, families leaving domestic violence situations, and homeless prevention services. That is currently in our consolidated plan. New affordable housing for low, moderate income households, neighborhood improvements. That is also in our consolidated plans. It's sidewalks, street repaving, ADA improvements, and that is required by HUD under statute that we also look at addressing ADA issues. Economic development is in our plan, and traditionally what we've done is employment job training and the mayor's scholarship. Youth services is also a priority as that is currently reflected in the consolidated plan. And then the public services, which is the 15% cap, and it goes around those activities that I listed that are just examples, but it's not limited to that. The citizen participation plan is also a CDBG requirement. The goal there is to make sure that we engage the community, particularly those individuals who fall under the low and moderate income bracket, and individuals who have limited English proficiency. So if you're a Spanish speaker or any other member who has limited English, we need to make sure that we're able to reach you as well for public hearings. And so one of the things we've done is we have our public hearing notices in English and Spanish, and this PowerPoint will be translated into Spanish to meet the needs of the HUD requirements, so make sure that we are in compliance. But the goal here is to make sure that we get your input and we get the input of the residents of the city, particularly the beneficiaries of these funds. So here we have a projected timeline, and this is, I want to go over this for a minute because we are in a very critical point when it comes to the budget. As you all know, we had a federal government shutdown. Potentially, there may be another federal government shutdown on February 8th. It is unclear, but that may happen. So what that means is that we have the President Trump submitted to Congress a budget, a proposed budget that zeroes out these programs, CDBG and home. Congress is going to have to go through the appropriations process, and so they will need to reauthorize these programs. Because we are uncertain what will happen, I wanted to make sure that for transparency purposes, everyone understands where we are. And my commitment to all of you is to over-communicate. So what we know, when we know it, we will share with all of you. But what we will do is continue this process and follow the timeline and do the best we can. And if for some reason these programs are zeroed out, we will let you know. Now, we are soliciting public input. We talked about the online survey. It is on the city website. Our goal is to release the application in March. We will give you 30 days, and then the applications will be due in April. We're going to do something different this year. We're going to have a CDBG committee, so that's going to be made up of city agency folks, foundations, and members of the community who live in these CDBG targeted areas reviewing and scoring these applications. So we want to create as much transparency as possible. We are also going to have a public hearing in May and provide the proposed recommendations, and we will seek public comment. We have been told by HUD that the final due date is August 16th, and our goal is to submit it to HUD prior to that. Now, in the next slide, what you will see is a lot of calendar year. We don't know, based on what's going on with the budget, whether or not there will be funds available to provide to the community. So once Congress informs HUD, then we will know if there will be funds for 2018 available. So at that point, then we will know the rest of the dates. And so this is why you just see calendar year 2018. I spent time yesterday with HUD on the phone to make sure that we were in alignment. And so this is based on their input. So we cannot give you any dates because we don't know what's happening. This is how we spent our grant funds allocated for 2017. And it's also posted on the website so you can see how we allocated them. Next steps, we are inviting you to provide us public comments through the online survey or here today. We are recording this and we will transcribe it, and this will be part of the official record that we provide to HUD, and we will also post it on the website. The citizen participation plan, we're going to be looking at it and amending it to make it much more comprehensive. And it will go through what the process will be during the year and how we will be seeking input from everyone, including the disabled, so that it's much more comprehensive. And I think we need to tweak it a little bit, and we will be seeking your comments on that. And when we do, that will be a 30-day comment period. The application will be released in March and due in April, and then we will have 3 application workshops to go through with you any questions you have, and that will be mandatory because we want to make sure that you understand the application. And we've streamlined it and made it a lot easier, and we will also include language in there about the conflict of interest, and we did that last year, and we will do that again this year. And so with that, we're going to open it for community input, and I'm going to...
So our first speaker, Mayor Thomas.
So, thank you, Sylvia, and I hope everyone caught some of the concern that was shared with respect to the 2018 funding cycle. And that's just a reality where if you believe in this program, it's an opportunity to, contact your Congress member, contact other Congress members, and that's something that, we can provide you with information of how this can benefit Mount Vernon, how it can benefit your organizations you already know, but we certainly like to work with you to advocate for CDBG funds to remain intact, and just, please receive this message as an invitation to collaborate on advocating so the program can continue to be funded. Now, as mayor, I'm speaking because I'm deeply encouraged by and appreciative of the fact that there's been a tremendous response to the possibility that urban renewal can be available to help people and organizations in need. The Community Development Block Grant is an essential tool for our community. So many folks are in here tonight to speak to the ways to put this money to work for our city, from job training to arts programs to traffic lights and public safety initiatives. These grants are an essential way for our community to invest in itself. There are challenges in our city that we as elected officials, stakeholders, and residents are best equipped to confront. And last year, we were able to give approximately $1 million to organizations that are working on housing options for our residents. From grants to buy a home, to monies to fix boilers and roofs. This ability to give young families, couples, men and women a cash infusion will put them on a path toward economic security. And just for context purposes, those three organizations were Habitat for Humanity, Allied Enterprise Services, Allied Community Enterprise Services, ACE, they're here tonight, hey ACE, as well as Westchester Residential Opportunities, and which I believe is here as well.
Yes.
So the point is, these resources, when we discovered we had them, we made every attempt to make them available. But the objective is to create economic security, generational wealth, and this is what will place our city toward a stronger economic future. The general public tends to assume from time to time that elected officials are some special class of people that don't need assistance from the government in order to survive. But we now live in a two-income, sometimes a three-income society. But for a few twists and turns, you know, I personally could be standing on the side of this room seeking funds to support not just myself, but my family and those that we know in this community. Like millions of other Americans, my family is saddled with student debt. I was lucky to fight for and receive a college education and ultimately a graduate education, but I'll be paying student loans for a significant amount of time. My wife is in the same situation. I was fortunate enough to recently move into a new home with my wife and two young children. But that good fortune is only thanks to the fact that I bought a Volkswagen Touareg, which turned out to be defective, and the company refunded all of the money that I paid and some. A random insurance settlement, a stroke of luck, is the only way we were able to purchase a home. It was the only way we could secure the American dream. I was able to qualify and get a mortgage so I could help my family. Otherwise, I would be renting with no end in sight. So the programs that we're seeking help for could have been the type of monies that I would have sought had I been in that position a very short time ago. And the reason I'm sharing some of this personal information with you is because I want to stress that I feel the pain and I understand the situation that many of us may be going through in this room tonight. I know from personal experience that a little bit of money can go a long way, and every dollar that the Urban Renewal Agency gives out can provide a little bit more hope to our city. I wish to assure you that the agency will give careful consideration to all of the requests, and it's my fervent hope that the decisions we make will change the life of some recipient and give hope where there was none. Also, with parents and children aging on both ends of the spectrum, means that we as an agency and we as a city, we as a family, need to pay careful attention to pedestrian safety, parks rehabilitation, youth sports, senior programs, as well as arts and theater to bring new life to the city. Mount Vernon deserves to fully realize the American dream, and tonight, with your help, we'll be taking more steps toward making that dream come true. So thank you all for coming out tonight.
So right now, what I'd like to do is I will call out certain organizations that have emailed us prior that they'd like to speak, and I'm going to start with the Mount Vernon Soup Kitchen.
name and organization.
I will, and thank you so much for inviting us here. My name is Roberta Rapuzzo. I'm the Executive Director of Community Service Associates, which is the largest soup kitchen here in the Southern Tier. I've been the Executive Director for 24 years. We used to be at Sacred Heart Church, and we are now at the Armory. We consistently, over the years, have lost funding from the state, funding from the county, funding from private people that can no longer afford to give us what they used to. So many of our big donors have passed away, and we depend greatly on the money that the city gives us. We serve over 250 meals per week. We do a dinner and we give a brown bag lunch. We have a staff of 2 people, and we have over 700 volunteers that walk through our doors, from youngsters that are 6 years old to youngsters that are 65 years old and over. We are one of the most vital agencies in Mount Vernon to keep the most at risk from being ill. We have many, many seniors. We have families with children that come. And it is so important for them not only to eat, but also to be in an environment where they can socialize. And one thing that is really good about the Armory is that the tables that we have now are in the round. And that brings a lot of socialization to people that don't have anybody to speak to. They might deal with DSS, but a lot of their families have thrown them away. And we're safe. We're a safe haven. I know almost everybody's name. Everybody knows us. We're very proud, and I'm very, very proud to be the executive director of this very vital organization. We need desperately to keep this program going, because I don't know where the people that we serve would land. So I thank you very much for listening, and I thank the mayor and the commissioner and Sylvia for extending this invitation. And I just do want to mention that I know that everybody that is here does have wonderful organizations. Thank you so much.
So I'd just like to reemphasize, everyone will get an opportunity to speak. There are a few organizations that have required or requested to speak through Meet before, so I'll give those organizations a chance. And because there is such a large turnout, I'm asking everyone, keep to 2 to 3 minutes. So the next organization is Mount Vernon United Tenants.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Madam Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner. My name is Dennis Hamady. I'm the Executive Director of Mount Vernon United Tenants. I'm just giving you a one-page handout of some of our program accomplishments from last year. The most important thing we do is probably our homelessness prevention. I think that's still the most intractable problem here in Westchester, and specifically in Mount Vernon, the ability of low to moderate income people to afford ever-increasing rents. We really have our finger kind of in the thing that just trying to keep people home in their homes. Everybody in this building pretty much refers people to Mount Vernon United Tenants when people come in looking for housing problems. They say, oh, go see Dennis, go see Dennis, go see Dennis. And we resolve most of those problems. We stop nearly 200 evictions a year.
Because many families cannot afford what it costs to send your child to daycare. And for many of you that don't know, the regulations are steep. We have a lot of expenses that you wouldn't even realize. And therefore, we do need help. And we have been struggling all of us have been struggling. Not just Mount Vernon Daycare, but Daycare, but we definitely want to be around for another 125 years. And we appreciate the help the city has given us, and we would like to continue to be in the good graces of the city. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're gonna switch it up a little bit. On page 18 of you guys' PowerPoint, we have some program activities, so I'm gonna start going by groups. So yeah, recreation will be next.
About Mount Vernon Housing Authority.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to make sure that I emphasize the need for two things. One is youth programs in the city, as well as also recreation activities. There is a national campaign in which we need to have, they're pushing for all urban cities to have a 10-minute walk to a park. Now, that's nice, and we need to have a 10-minute walk for most of our parks. That's true. The question, the problem, or the challenge is right now the conditions and the upkeep of our parks and playgrounds. And so we need to make sure that we continue to support the playgrounds being usable, being modernized. We just recently renovated the Rush Park playground that had not been renovated since 1978. And we can no longer allow our parks to continue to be that way. Now, and specifically, we also have some conditions in our playgrounds, like 4th Street, and oftentimes vandalism, and we tried to fix it. Years ago, we did an assessment of the surface there. And there's a problem deep down below ground that would cost a significant amount of money. So the fix was to put a temporary court down. That court is not sufficient. So we need to look at new, more modernized kinds of things, such as like having outdoor wood courts that actually work, that are actually more sturdy, that allow for safety, allow for less injury, things of that sort. And so we're looking to modernize all of our playgrounds, and as we begin to look at also skateboard parks and things of that sort, in which our young people are looking for places to congregate together. Now, along those same lines, we also have after-school programs that need to also get an infusion of cash in order for us to provide the right services. The time in which our young people are getting in trouble the most is somewhere between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night. And if we don't have the adequate recreational facilities, the after-school programs, weekend programs that provide a variety of activities, both sports and non-sports, or athletics and non-athletic sports. Specifically, bringing Mount Vernon back to what we know Mount Vernon to be, a competitive sports community where we learn teamwork, sportsmanship, leadership. So we're looking at pushing our sports program forward so that we have organized sports leagues. We also training for competitiveness, but also not only in the athletic arena, but also in places like where we're looking at robotics, we're looking at coding, or looking at STEM or STEAM types of things that begin to challenge not only the physical attributes of our youth, but also the mental, the cognitive, the emotional, the social. And so I'm encouraging the board to make sure that we look at how we also fund recreational and youth programs, provide opportunities for synergy and collaboration among the Recreation Department, Youth Bureau, and our CBOs, right? We want to be able to make sure we all are working together. And so the Boys and Girls Club, and working with the Mount Vernon Youth Bureau, and also with the Recreation Department, those are the kinds of things that will help our young people to become positive, well-rounded citizens in this country. The last thing I want to say is we also need to make sure that while we're at the youth end, we also need to be at the senior end and continue to make sure that we provide for intergenerational opportunities. The opportunities for our young people who are at Mount Vernon Daycare or at CAG Daycare to be able to interact with our seniors. So those are the kinds of things that we're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So at this time, we're going to talk about youth programs. From the makeup of the audience, I assume there's going to be quite a few folks. So if you guys want to start lining up, or in an orderly manner.
Hi there. My name is Katie Gojkovic. I'm the executive director.
One second.
Sorry.
Yes, so the line, yep.
Excuse me, can we form the line on the outside, please?
Yes, one is, yes, in this row right here. Excuse me, can we form the line on the outside aisle? Please, and make our way to the middle.
Okay, good evening. My name is Katie Goikovich. I'm the Executive Director for Young at Arts. Just want to turn this over to two of my alumni who are now faculty members who both grew up in Mount Vernon. They're going to tell us a little bit more about your program for tonight.
All right, first of all, to the administrators of the CDBG grant and the funding program thank you for tonight. Sorry, can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay. We're here to represent Young at Arts, as Katie said, which is a dynamic after-school performing arts program. My name is Vincent Preddy. I am a member of the faculty, also an administrative member of the staff, and an alumni of Young at Arts. I was also born and raised here in Mount Vernon. Young at Arts is an arts program that has been serving my hometown of Mount Vernon for 13 years. Young at Arts was founded in 2005 by Mount Vernon resident and artist Sharon Hurdle and director of Christ Church Bronxville, Father Michael Bird, to provide an outstanding arts education, to build bridges between communities, and to empower leaders of the future. Young at Arts serves over 800 children each year on 5 campuses throughout Mount Vernon, Bronxville, Tuckahoe, and Eastchester. We inspire children to represent their communities through leadership, confidence, expression, and hard work. By bringing together children of different backgrounds in a collaborative environment with high expectations, students learn skills that serve them well for the rest of their lives. I just want to give a few statistics to you all. So 68% of our students are from Mount Vernon. 40% receive scholarship, and these families usually come from low-income houses. And 5 faculty members are actually from Mount Vernon residents.
Good evening, my name is Jayla Chimsomax. Thank you again to Mayor Richard Thomas and the board. I'm also a faculty member and alum. Young at Arts provides a daily safe haven during the crucial after-school hours, and on weekends and in the summer. We also have tutoring, international travel scholarships, mentoring, and college counseling. And for the last 12 years, the City of Mount Vernon has played a vital part in our program by providing transportation to Mount Vernon residents to our Broxville campuses, as well as transportation to our Amani students for trips to Lincoln Center. We appreciate that you have committed to Young at Arts' mission, and we are also grateful to Darren Morton, Head of Recreation, for continually supporting our transportation efforts. And Vincent and I also took the bus, which is really important to students. We would like, with your help, to continue this vision by expanding our program so that we can reach out to more of the talented youth of this great city. And we invite you to experience the magic of performance, featuring the Rhythms of Africa with our Young at Arts students and the Amani African Drum Ensemble, which is happening March 19th at our Bronxville campus. We agree that youth services should be a high priority, and we have seen how important this has been. And we even have one of our students here tonight, Jaden, who's one of our star students in our program. We need your support, and we thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Fred Powers. I'm the current president of the board of directors for the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club. The Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club has a long and rich tradition in the city of Mount Vernon, over 106 years old. We're located on 6th Avenue, and we've been in the building since 1957. The building is starting to show its age. The Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club follows the national platform as a safe place for boys and girls to go after school, weekends, and summer activities. Last year we served over 1,400 youth. We currently have 800 members of the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club. We average over 100 boys and girls coming in our doors daily. Our programs focus on 3 major areas: academic success, health, healthy lifestyle, and civic responsibility. I'm going to turn it over to Lowe's Moore, who's going to talk about some of our programs.
Good evening. First, I want to thank the city for this opportunity, and I want to thank all those who have programs in the city of Mount Vernon. Without each of your programs, Mount Vernon would be in trouble. So I do appreciate every program that's in here tonight. Also, we have some individuals from the Boys and Girls Club. Some are standing, staff, members of the club that we brought with us. I want to just focus on 3 of the programs. The first one is a food program. Made about 2 years ago. We started with a snack program, which we gave out a fruit every day. And last year we ended up with 2 days a week of hot meals every week. And this year, through some resources, we were able to feed kids all 5 days hot meal, as well as the fruit snack program. So I want to highlight that. One other program is the Passport to Manhood and Smart Girls, in which we try to help young people transition from boys to men and from young girls to women, which is a very powerful and private program that we have each and every week. And it was mentioned earlier, the last one that was mentioned earlier, we do need to have the resources to be able to have teenagers, and particularly teenagers and middle school kids, off the street at 3 o'clock, right? So immediately after school, we need to have teens in our building. And so with that in mind, I wanted to say that that's what we really need funding for. And Jaden is also a member of the Boys and Girls Club, and he's going to talk about areas.
I'm Jaden Vaughn. I've been a member of the Boys and Girls Club for 8 years now. When I started going to the Boys and Girls Club, many problems. Didn't want to listen to anybody, didn't want to do what anybody said. It was just in Jaden's own fantasy land. I just want to ask that the mayor and the council, they give the Boys and Girls Club the funding that we need to expand to make us a bigger Boys and Girls Club, because every day that I'm walking from school or days that I don't have school, I see kids from Longfellow, Davis, and the High being followed by cops, which we don't need as youth and as black people and white people as they see us as a community. When I started the Boys and Girls Club 8 years ago, I just didn't want to be there. Every day after school, I was asking myself, why am I going there? Now it's like, my mom can never keep me in the house from out of that place. When I started Passport to Manhood, I tell you, I fell asleep every time. Mr. Moore always, wake up, wake up, wake up. And now it's like, this is a program that I wouldn't be at, because every day that I go to the Boys and Girls Club, I learn something new from Mr. Moore, Mr. Mel, Mr. Smith that's in the back, Miss Penny, Miss Young, and which is also a wonderful family for young kids. We have wonderful academic programs. We have wonderful after-school team programs from the hours of 6:30 to 8:30. We have team programs where kids can come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays and play basketball. On Wednesdays, we have a program called Words in Action. On Thursdays, we have a program where my teacher from Young and Arts comes in. She teaches us how to write. Youth entrepreneur programs, a whole bunch of programs for teens, for kids from the ages of 6 to 15 or 16, I believe, where they just learn new things and good important things. So please, I ask the council and the people to help us expand.
That's what the Boys and Girls Club is about. Mayor Thomas, the next mayor of Mount Vernon. Thank you, Jay. I just want to close with a couple of statistics and what we want funding for. With our meal program that that Lil spoke about, when we started the snack program, we served 26,400 snacks a year. And when we started with the fruits, the kids looked at us like, what do you mean fruit? Where's the Snickers bars? But now they come looking for it. The dinner program, which started November 13th, we went 5 days on November 13th. We have served over 6,000 meals so far, and in the first year, we will serve 26,400 meals. The club members last year served over 5,000 hours in community service in Mount Vernon, in the Bronx, in White Plains, 5,000 hours, and that's very important to us. And also education is a very important part of what we're doing. We want our kids to graduate from high school and to graduate with a plan for their future. So this funding is extremely important to the Boys and Girls Club. The programs that we're looking for funding for are to expand our teen program, as everyone's mentioned, so that we can serve teens from 3 o'clock on. Our after-school program, we want to strengthen that. We want to make sure we continue the meal program. We got funding for 1 year. We're stretching that funding as far as we can, but we need that program to continue. Passport to Manhood and Smart Girls, teaching our young people to become responsible adults. And finally, we currently have STEM for 30 kids twice a week. We'd like to expand that and to go up to 45 kids. So there's a lot of great things going on at the Boys and Girls Club. Please stop by and see us in action. But we thank you for this opportunity, and good luck to everyone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paula Santadonato, and I'm from WJCS, the Mount Vernon After School Academy. We have programs at Edward Williams Elementary School and Hamilton Elementary School. We've been in the community and serving these after-school programs for over 20 years, and we have some of our youngest advocates here to demonstrate how much they love the program and how they want it to remain open. One of the programs, we are funded mainly by the Office of Children and Family Services from the state. However, Edward Williams funding, the grant ended, and it has risk of closing next year unless the governor approves additional funding for after-school programming. So we're here to advocate, hopefully the city could provide some funds for a possible gap year that might occur, so that these kids have safe and enriching, they're adorable, you should see their faces, safe and enriching environments. I'm going to let Shamar Watson, the program director of the program, who heads both of the programs, speak a little bit more in detail of the richness of this program that these kids get. We serve 125 kids per school. Okay, thank you. And all of the programs are wonderful. And I don't know how you make these decisions of what to fund and not fund.
Good evening, all. I'm going to keep this within 45 seconds. But the faces up here, for 45 seconds, but the faces you see here represent the Mount Vernon community. And the reality is, effective June, we will have 125 students without after-school programming, without enrichment, without support of that social-emotional piece, which is very important for all our youth. I'm a single father, so I know the value of after-school program, and this right here are the faces of the after-school program. So we ask that you support our children, support our future, support all our youth programs in Mount Vernon. I'm going to turn it over to my group leader, and after he finishes, the children are going to do a chant that's about 10 seconds long for you, okay?
Good afternoon. I've worked for Amazing Afternoons. This is my 8th year there. 8 years ago, when I went to the Amazing Afternoons, I started off as just a volunteer. And then I got a job there, but I didn't work there because they were paying me. But I worked there, and I went there, and I walked there every day for the simple fact that the kids, they wanted me to come back. They wanted me to be there, and I didn't know why they wanted me to be there. But then I had a conversation. I always worked with the older kids. I'm working with the younger kids now. I love them. But the older kids always said that there was something that they were able to say that they would never be able to say to their parents, that they would never be able to say to their cousins, that they would never be able to say to their aunts. And they come and visit me even to this very day. And such a change has happened in their lives, and it's no thing that I've done, but it's just that the fact that Edward Williams is one of the lowest performing schools. As an employee of the Mount Vernon City School District, Edward Williams is one of the low performing schools. But the after-school program has provided priority instruction. We have had STEM, we have had social and emotional behavioral strategies. I've been there for a while now, and I've seen kids or students, they have excelled. Their parents, they come in and they have no hope. But then when they see the after-school program, they wait. I speak to parents every single day that don't even go to their teachers. They come and they wait, they speak to my staff and Mr. Shamar and Miss Mosley, and they wait to see what we can do to change a lot of things that are happening in school. And so please, I'm asking that you guys help us, you push us, so that we can have another great decade and more of academic services and recreation projects. They're gonna give us a chant. This is a chant that they made up, and so they're gonna do it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Woo! All aboard! Amazing, amazing, that's our name. Get off the street and get on the train. Amazing, amazing, that's our name. Get off the street and get on the train. Choo choo, train.
It's just one person is going to go before you. As I said, we were switching it up a little bit, but there are some folks that had signed up before, so we're going to have veterans speak real quick, and then we'll go back to the line.
Thank you, commissioners, thank you to the mayor. My name is Kristen Reed. I am the Commissioner of Veteran Services here for the city of Mount Vernon. I am an Air Force and Iraqi veteran, and I am here to ask for a salary and fringe benefits for a part-time accredited veteran service officer. So Mount Vernon has neglected its veterans, and they are notoriously uneducated as to what their benefits are. And over the past years, there's been very little effort undertaken to communicate and get that to veterans. Nationally, fewer than half of the veterans understand their benefits, be it medical care, college tuition, or pension and disability payments. VA applications are notoriously difficult to complete without help and guidance, without help and guidance, and veterans often submit incorrect or incomplete paperwork out of frustration and exacerbation. The VSA is currently operating on a shoestring budget of about $62,000 for all departmental expenses that include salary and all equipment. And a trained VSO, Veteran Service Officer, can cut months and years off the time it takes veterans to receive benefits from the VA. It is never advised that a veteran complete their own claim paperwork. The process, again, can be difficult to navigate even with experience. And the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA, actually says vets who give VSOs power of attorney receive more than double the benefits that they receive when they submit them by themselves. So just to kind of give somebody a small inkling as to what I do, if a veteran is injured in the military service and then they come back years later and that injury is aggravated and is a recurrent condition, what we do is we go to the VA and seek compensation for that veteran. So if you had a knee problem, your knee's acting up now 20 years later, and we can connect it to the incident that happened in service, you would be entitled to monthly compensation as long as the condition still presents itself. So there are plenty of veterans, I'm sure you all have in your family, friends, that have these conditions and are not receiving any compensation. Every dollar that you give a veteran is new money from outside the state coming into the state because it's all federal dollars. Veterans have been deprived of assistance in filing for their rights to any privilege, preference, or compensation provided for by the laws of the United States and by the state of New York. This position would be easily to hold accountable by tracking the dollars awarded to Mount Vernon veterans. So just some scope, there have not been any awards in the past 5 years from the city of Mount Vernon for our disabled vets. Now that doesn't mean that some people are not getting awards, it means that they're going outside of our office, maybe to the Westchester County office. I've had people go to Rhode Island to seek assistance filing for benefits. Again, some scope, in the last year, the neighboring city of Yonkers had $5 million in awards. They also have 6 people in their office. I am the only employee of the Mount Vernon Veteran Service Agency. What that means is when I go out to meetings or trainings that the office is closed to our veterans at Park,
get out, put a quarter in the meter, and then come to a closed and locked door. So the VSA has been historically underfunded, which was not an issue when the agency wasn't operating as designed in 1942 when it was established. However, currently staffed with only one employee, it is impossible to provide the services outlined in the Mount Vernon City Charter and the National Veteran Service Agency guidelines. So our veterans deserve the caliber and quality of service that they have earned through their service to this country. And a part-time accredited veteran service officer would address the immediate need for this vulnerable population. And then lastly, I know a hot topic is veteran homelessness. Many of you hear about it. Well, one of the issues we have in Mount Vernon, because it's a small city, there's not a lot of people that fit the homelessness category from the Department of Labor, which is unhoused, sleeping on a train, sleeping in a car, sleeping outside. Many of our veterans are inconsistently housed, or what they consider couch surfing. What that means is they're not eligible for most of the veteran homeless programs. One of the few agencies that does help them is the UNITA tenants that spoke first, because they help prevent homelessness. Aside from that, our veterans are not considered homeless, even though we all know they are. So, and then lastly, the mayor touched on economic security. Many of the veterans do not have the economic security necessary to obtain and retain housing. What that means is that you can stick somebody in an apartment, but if they have no money to pay their bills, to buy toothpaste, to buy a bus pass, they're going to be homeless again in a few months. And there's nothing anyone can do about that. By having an accredited veteran service officer that can argue for their benefits and get them a monthly pension to come in, that will help them sustain housing. Luckily, the VSA has access to the former deputy director of the Westchester County Veteran Service Agency, who has over 20 years of experience filing these claims, and a willingness to fill the position. So in closing, the creation of this position, the funding of this position, could result in millions of dollars in revenue to the city, but more importantly, would change the quality of life for our veterans who have fought for our way of life. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lillian Reynolds, and I'm the homeless liaison for Mount Vernon City School District. And with me is the assistant principal from Mount Vernon High School, Ms. Pauline Palmer Pierce. Could you stand? Raise your hand. She's the assistant principal. I'd like to have you with me tonight. And also the homeless program social worker, Ms. Ramona Parker. Could you stand as well? And if there are any high school students in the room tonight, could you stand? High school students, Mount Vernon High School. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for standing. So tonight, we are very grateful to have an opportunity to speak before the community and the council regarding the need to start a mentoring partnership between the city and the Mount Vernon City School District. In 2017, the high school graduation rate was 65% for the general student population, but only 30 students who were homeless graduated during that time period. That was only 6.28% of the total homeless seniors that we had. And so our goal is to increase the graduation rate of homeless students and other students who are economically disadvantaged. And we want to increase those graduation rates to improve our school's overall academic performance. We want to make sure that we have opportunities to collaborate with the community, to work with the City of Mount Vernon, to connect students to networks of support and resources that will allow them to reach for social and economic opportunities to succeed. Business collaborations, to work with business community, to connect and invest in youth, to create transformative relationships. We are very grateful for this opportunity to present to you, and it is our hope that these mentoring relationships can last a lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you to the mayor, commissioner, and deputy commissioner, and to the community for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Devania Thompson. I'm the director of the Mount Vernon Public Library, the Central Library of Westchester. And the first thing I want to say to all of you, knowledge is power, okay? And we know our history, knowledge is power. In part, our mission statement says the Mount Vernon Public Library is guided by the following principles to achieve excellence: support for intellectual freedom, literary promotion, respect for and inclusion of the entire community, fostering a healthy democracy, forming strong partnerships, adaptability, innovation, and a professional and skilled staff that serves people of all ages, interests, and abilities with fairness and equity. For the purpose of the CDBG grant, we have identified two constituencies that are underserved in Mount Vernon. The first one is assisting teenagers, specifically teenagers, in the elimination of the digital divide, and the second one is assisting persons under the Americans with Disabilities Act, which would go under infrastructure. For the purposes of keeping this brief, I'm just going to focus at the moment on the teenagers. Mount Vernon teenagers between the ages of 13 to 18 are 16.9% of the persons below the poverty level. To elaborate, this is about 25% higher than the rate in New York, New Jersey City, New York, New Jersey, PA metro area, and about 20% higher than the rate in New York State. Just briefly, only 54% of teens in lower income families have a laptop in the home, compared with 92% of teens in higher income families. 1/5 of teenagers in lower income households reported they never use computers for their homework or use them less than once a month. And 1/10 of lower income teenagers said that they had only dial-up web access to the internet, and it was often slow and erratic. None of the higher income youth said they had only dial-up access. This issue of the lessening digital divide, one, has been recently addressed in January 23rd, this January workshop given by the iNeighborhoods and the Westchester County Association. It is also part of the Westchester Library Systems report, Strategic Directions, which was given last night by their Executive Director, Terry Kirchner, to the WS Board of Trustees. The Mount Vernon Public Library proposes the following to address this need: developing a teen media center by redesigning and modernizing the teen area in the library. We are uniquely placed to lessen the digital divide because staff and patrons can access with high-speed computers internet at 200 Mbps. Okay? That is the highest and fastest rate of any library in all of Westchester County. We offer premier reference and research resources, including research databases to everyone, including scholars, because we are the central library of Westchester. So this is one of the reasons we're asking for your support for this, with the CDBG grant, and then to just quickly go to the assisting persons under the Americans with Disabilities Act. We will be looking for funding to make the ramp leading from the parking lot wider to accommodate wheelchairs, adjusting the ramp in the fixed room to make it less steep, and to develop a place to load and unload vans for disabled people. Knowledge is for everyone. The library is for everyone. It's free. Nobody asks you about your income. Nobody asks you about what you're researching. Nobody's asking you. We don't turn you away. Please support your Mount Vernon Public Library and support these initiatives so that we can support you, the community, in the very best way we can.
Peace and blessings, everyone. My name is Stefan Ritter, and I'm an alumni from Mount Vernon. I am representing not only Mount Vernon Housing Authority, so you can understand what the changing of the program year is. So when they changing this is why you're allowed looking for money, looking for these funds, because they already took those. And if they sell a home, then they already have them. So you have to understand that the programs that we put together, as I put RLR, or Children on the Move, together, and this program was from 5 to 12 years old, 12 to 15-year-old, 15 to 17-year-old, 17 to 19-year-old, and 19 to 21, and unlimited. So we started off with just the children at 5 in the mornings, and I dropped them off at 6. But I did all of this out of my own pocket. So we did this for years. And not only did we support we built the brush park, so when you see them talking about they built the brush park, you can see what's happening, that they taking the progress of us alone. Denzel Washington, one of our photographers, he gave $1 million to the Boys Club. So you have to be mindful that Jeffrey Dixon, we gave $1 million to Brush Park to get married. Kenny Mack is the Westchester Jets. So you see, we all combined together, and this is the 63-year-old, we the 63 that was born in 63. So you can see they trying to override Mount Vernon Housing Authority with their authority. So that will become a reprogramming of funds. So we are this is a federal state, because I'm a two-time New York State Federation champion from the Mount Vernon Knights basketball. We won this town, we won this as a town. So you can see that we are a suburb, and they're trying to take the suburb and turn it into a city, in which we are the capital of everything in the world. The library is the central library for everything in the world. So we have to understand who you are, because you came amongst kings and queens, and they came to disrespect the kings and queens, and this is a product of it, because I represent the Mount Vernon Housing Authority, but they're not recognizing it because they're using city polices, they're using everything against us so that we cannot arise, so that y'all can see that I went to 3 different colleges, I had like 23 scholarships. I've been in the military, I'm a private general from the United States Marine Corps. Y'all don't get a chance to see the greatness that came out of this town because they changing it to a city. So you hustling and buffling off of the scraps in which they give it to y'all. So this is why I came back to give back. And the reason why is we help youth. So you have to understand, the senior citizen, I cut their hair. Most of y'all know, I give back free haircuts. Every one of the block things they had over there, the Arts on 3rd, all of those things, you will see me giving you back everything that you need. It never was a problem until the city is trying to take everything away, and that's what reprogramming means. So for all of y'all that's here, that do good in school, you automatically get scholarships when you do good, because this is where you get them from. And everything which you asking for, it's already here. So when you ask them, they asking you for money when they sell things that don't belong to them, and they get the money, what do they do with the money? So you gotta be mindful of all of the tricks that are being played against the mental of the children, because you are a treasure estate. So once you understand what a treasure estate is, then you will find yourself without being by yourself. And that's what I'm saying. I've had 7 police activities. Only thing I did is lift the community. I have 80 children at the projects, I uplift them. And I had 23 where this Pastor Joy, who I put the children in his program, and then they came along and changed the name from our Children of the Move to the Children of Life. It was a free program. So I just want to upgrade all of y'all to understand, you can do it too. 23 scholarships, that means every one of y'all got a chance to get scholarships in the world. That's the rule. I have respect.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Henry Wilson. I'm the executive director of the YCOP program, Youth Community Outreach Program. Let's go, get it up. Let's see who's in the house. For some of you who don't know, Sean knows, and a few of you others knows, I took over YCOP in 2012. That used to be run by a former detective in Mount Vernon Police here. His name is Alan Ayers. He asked me to take it over. In 2012, we started our summer camp program with maybe 35 kids. Now we average about 150, 160 kids. That's true. That's true. You said that's true, Bishop? That's right. Great program. So not only do we operate at summer camp every summer, and we're already starting to enroll for our summer camp this year. We have an after-school program that's licensed by Child Care Council in the state. We have a youth development basketball program that's on every Saturday. And we just started, we have a CIT program where a lot of those young people who were once campers become CITs, and now those CITs are now working with the YCOP program. We also just started just this past week, actually yesterday, a girls empowerment group for 9 to 12-year-olds. And we're always looking for funding. So we have a dedicated group of parents that help us fundraise all the time. Specifically, what I'm here for is to ask for assistance with our summer camp program. So in our summer camp program, we break it up into 3 different groups according to age. And each group averages about anywhere from 35 to 42 kids, 6 to 7-year-olds, 8 to 9-year-olds, and 10 and 12-year-olds. And each of those groups, each week go on a field trip. So that's 3 times 6 is 18. That's not including swimming. That's not including trips down to the parks in New York City. So our biggest expense is transportation. Our biggest expense is transportation, to say the least. So far, in addition to the 18 field trips and the swimming at the College of New Rochelle, hopefully we'll be able to swim at Mount Vernon High School this summer. And then the other trips, that's already total somewhere near the 30 range. And when we get these kids out of the building and out of the city and exposed to different things in life. So our assistance, our call forth is assistance with our transportation. And last but not least, in our after-school program, we saw a need, as Commissioner Darren mentioned earlier, and Lowe's mentioned earlier, there is that fine line between 3 and 6:30 where our kids are subject to peer pressure, and parents work all day and get home late in the evening. So one of the things that we started is a meal program. So in our after-school program, our kids get a full meal. We have a volunteer chef, 2 actually, and our kids get a full meal each and every day before the parents come home. So I thank the mayor, and I thank the council, and I thank the committee, and hopefully you will put us in that consideration, Ms. Silver. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let me co-sign with my brother. He's doing a fantastic job with our young people, and this is something that the dollars should be invested in. I'm C.H. Melwoods. I'm the director of Bridge and Patog's Early Childhood Learning Center, and the pastor for the past 29 years, of Friendship Worship Center on 9th Avenue. First of all, I want to commend you all for this public hearing. I've been here a long time, and it's been a long time since we've had public hearings for us to discuss to this commission and to the community things that we do. The New York State is pushing community development, a community-based organization. A community-based organization is a grassroots organization that is to provide services for needy people within needy areas. And Friendship for Tots is that one of those services. We have partnered with the Mount Vernon school system to provide universal pre-K program for our children. Some 108 children are with us every day providing services. We also have partnered with the Mount Vernon Youth Bureau to provide an after-school program. We pick up children every day from every school to bring them to our facility. We give them a snack. We have a STEM program, which is known as STEAM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics. We have within that facility, we provide iPads, and we have terminals for kids to work on programs in which the school district give their homework, iReady program in which so we can look and see where their weaknesses are. And we make, first of all, learning fun. That's what we do. We make learning fun. And then secondly, what we do, we try and we attempt to take our children today and train and develop them to be leaders for tomorrow. And then ultimately the goal for the outcome is to make them, as the school district does, is to make them college and career ready. What we've asked them for is our summer enrichment program. We need our kids off the street. We also need our kids off the street. There's not enough after-school programs. We're a faith-based organization. We're willing to open up our church. We're not asking you to fund any religious program. We have a separate 501c number, so all our dollars accounted for and go directly to our children. So our after-school programs were important. We also need assistance in before care and after care. There's so many parents who need safe facilities to take their children before care and after care, and we will provide that. And it's not a babysitting service, as we know. As you know, the initiative in My Brother's Keeper is that we have a strong literacy. If we catch our children early on, that's the reason why the school district have reached back and got 3-year-old, 4-year-olds, because it's clearly understood that the development of a brain occurs within the 3 years of a child's life, and development of life skills occur within the 6 years of a child's life. Everything that a child needs to operate and to live, touch, smell, reason, happens in the first 6 years of our lives. And so we want to be in partnership to do that and to make sure that we can change this around. By third grade, if a child is not reading on grade level or above grade level, they begin to build prison cells. And most of the people that's in prison today are people that look like us, and they should not be there. So we must take control of our community and make a difference in our community. And so we will do that with the funds that you provide for us. Thank you.
Just want to thank everyone. I know, don't kill me. I need to do that thing again where I switch it up, and I need to call the Westchester Food Bank up. First of all, guys, it's about 8:30. Thank you for your patience. Oh, 7:30.
So, good evening. My name is Leslie Gordon. I'm a lifetime resident of Westchester County, and I have the pleasure of being the CEO of our food bank here in Westchester. Many thanks to the mayor and commissioners this evening for this opportunity to address residents here. We are the county's largest hunger relief organization. We've been in the county for more than 30 years. We are a vital lifeline for food and other resources from Peekskill in the north to this great city of Mount Vernon in the south. We believe that no one should go hungry. We believe that access to food is a basic human right, and we envision a county where everyone has access to the nutritious food where and when we need it, especially right here in Mount Vernon. At the food bank, we have the distinct honor and pleasure of working with more than 300 frontline community partners throughout the county: soup kitchens, food pantries, shelters, housing organizations, schools, faith-based institutions, including a number of them right here in Mount Vernon. We efficiently deliver fresh produce and wholesome food to more than 150,000 Westchester residents every month. Hunger impacts people of every race, every age, religion, ethnicity. Mount Vernon is no different. About 20% of our neighbors right here in Westchester County struggle with having enough food to eat. They don't always know when their next meal is coming from or when it will be. 33% of those are kids. 22% seniors. Right here in this great city of Mount Vernon, it's even more pervasive, and the need is urgent. Nearly 25% of the population in this city, could be some of us in the room this evening, don't always know when their next meal is coming from or what it will be. We can talk about bringing other resources that are necessary, certainly, but I argue that without this fundamental resource, often people can't successfully take advantage of other resources. And what does the need look like right here in the city of Mount Vernon? There are nearly 3 million meals that are missing from the plates of Mount Vernon residents every single year. This year, the Food Bank for Westchester looks forward to providing at least half of those meals that are missing. We're a data-centric organization. We use good data to be able to target the deepest pockets of need right here in Mount Vernon by census tract. Feeding people facing hunger is about more than simply providing food, right? It's about providing wellness, nourishment, inner fortitude and strength. It's our goal to be able to provide the most nutritious food possible to improve people's health and well-being. It's a health issue, it's an economic issue. It allows people and communities to thrive, it feeds the spirit. Without food, we see high crime, because people are what I like to call hangry. We see increased disease, high rates of absenteeism at work, poor school performance for kids, delayed childhood development. In this city, we currently provide food, nutrition education, food growing education, and assistance, in case you don't already know us. In July, we had the pleasure of partnering with the city to launch the Fresh Market program with their support in a municipal lot on East Prospect Avenue and North 3rd Avenue. It's at the center of one of the largest pockets of need in this city. So now every other Friday, we literally land a truckload of mixed fresh produce and distribute it free of charge to Mount Vernon residents. We provide backpacks full of food to kids in this city who don't always have enough food to eat on weekends. Last year, we provided 80,000 meals through that program. We partner with a number of different folks in this community. We have deep-rooted and long-time connections here. We work with 11 city schools, 13 food pantries, 8 senior housing complexes, 2 shelters, 5 hot meal programs, and more. And we would look forward to collaborating with these partners and others in the city. We're asking for support from CDBG to increase the food in this city as it's desperately needed, increase levels of nutrition education, financial education, and funding to increase the capacity of our existing partners to throughput additional food. In closing, I believe, speaking on behalf of our entire organization and our existing partners in this city, we believe in the power of this city. And with support from CDBG, we're excited about the opportunity of having an increased level of impact on the lives of Mount Vernon residents. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Hi, my name is Bijoy Samuel. I'm the pastor at Bridge Church, as well as the director of Children of Life Afterschool Program and the Mount Vernon Basketball League program at 4th Street Park. The Children of Life Afterschool Program has been operating for 7 years now, and for the first 6 years we were able to offer that for free. Most of the children that we serve are from underprivileged families and low income, and we're just blessed to be able to serve our community for these number of years, and we're asking for funding to be able to expand it as well as continue to offer it for free for our community. We're not only able to serve them as children from age 5 to 12, but we're also to serve them coming out of that age bracket to come back and be youth counselors, so they have a place where they can come back to work and earn some income. So that's a great transition. And also we have a youth program that they can also transition to. So this way, not only we get them from 5 to 12, but right after they come out of that program, they can go into the youth program and also work at the program. We have partnered and collaborated with many organizations such as the Youth Bureau and several other organizations in Mount Vernon, and that's what we always choose to do, because we can do a lot more together than by ourselves, and that's what we believe, such as the X Factor Drumline or the Bridge Music Institute to provide several different ways for the children to excel in different ways in performing arts, and so it's just not academic. With the Mount Vernon Basketball League, we've been running that at 4th Street Park for the last 7 years, and we're just blessed to be able to bring back life to 4th Street Park. As many of you know, that's a legendary park where it's always been packed for years, but then it has been dormant for a number of years. And so 7 years ago, we were able to bring back life to it by organizing a summer program there for 7 weeks. To be able to put 2 teams together, so we go from age 9 all the way up to 30 years old, and we've seen a lot of success with that. We've worked with Lowe's Moore and the Boys Club, and just to really bring back, just an excitement and a spirit, of life into that community, especially the intervening with some of the violence that's going on in that area with gangs, and there was so many instances where we were able to just intervene, where things could have been really tragic, but we were able, because we were there, we were able to just be able to bring peace into the area. We worked with SNUG from Family Services Westchester to also help us in those efforts to bring peace in that area. And so it's just amazing to see over 100 participants in that basketball league program, and to be able to see people who come out, like other NBA players to speak to us, like from the Knicks, and it's just amazing to be able to do programs like that. And so we're just looking for more funding to be able to continue the work that we've been doing for several years, And we just thank God that we're in a beautiful community where we can work together and just see for the success of our young children as well as those who are here and want to live in a safe place. God bless you all. Thank you.
Is there a representative from the Neighborhood Health Center here?
Good evening, Commissioner, Sylvia, the community at large. My name is Audrey Carver. I'm the Revenue Director at the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center, a member of the community for over 40 years. I'd like to thank you so much for providing us an opportunity in late August and early September to provide both medical and dental services to the most vulnerable participants of our community, the homeless. I have with me, our Medical Director, Dr. Marcos Femino, our Director of Social Services, Ms. Shirley Gibbs Bryant, and our Patient Advocate, Ms. Clece Cesario. They're just going to share with you briefly some of the outcomes of the program that you guys helped us initiate. Thank you.
I don't want to take too much time. My name is Dr. Samna. I'm the Medical Director at Mount Vernon Health Center. As you know, we provide quality health care for those who can't afford medicine. Actually, I became speechless because all the speakers, it's amazing how much they contribute to the health of the community. I mean, we are just part of that. I think, we'll probably have to, speaking of the health, for example, the federal government will cost them more money to treat patients going to the emergency room or even to the hospital. So all these people who spoke today, I think they should be funded, and I think we could give you statistics, how many patients spend a lot of money in the emergency room, things like that, So I'm just amazed, this like opened my eyes, how much you guys have contributed to the health of the community. I really appreciate that.
Good evening, my name is Shirley Gibbs Bryant, and I am the Director of Social Work at the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you what is needed. We were talking about the homeless community. In Mount Vernon, we desperately need a drop-in center. And for those of you who do not know what a drop-in center is, I will give you a brief example. A drop-in center is a place, an emergency center, where homeless people who have not been able to pay can find a place to sleep for the evening, and they drop in. And it's called a drop-in center because they have to be there before 5 in order to get a bed. The beds are limited, and they have to be there before 5, and then they have dinner, and they can have a place to sleep, and at 6, 8 in the morning they have to leave. And from there, they just either go to the streets, or we have one lady who sits in the library all day until it's time to go back, and she has to be there by 5. We in Mount Vernon are the only city in Lower Westchester that does not have a drop-in center. There's a drop-in center in New Rochelle and Yonkers. And because we don't have a drop-in center, many of our homeless people have to go either to Yonkers or to New Rochelle in order to find a place to sleep for the evening. We don't ask them to leave because we know the ones that come, and because they have nowhere else to sleep, they come and they sleep here at the health center when it's open. We also had, just this afternoon, we had an elderly woman who came in. She had been looking for shelter. She also goes to the drop-in center in New Rochelle. If she is not there by 5 o'clock, she will not have a bed. The beds are limited. Now, when she does get there, she's able to sleep, she's able to shower, and then in the morning, she has to be out at 6 a.m. She does not work, so she just roams the street, or she sits at the Dunkin' Donuts Center all afternoon. So I am pleading with HUD to help the city of Mount Vernon find housing. It's really a very serious problem here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dina Williams, and I'm the Deputy Director for the Mount Vernon Youth Bureau. I'd first like to say thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thanks to the mayor. Most of you in this room have heard of the Mount Vernon Youth Bureau. We serve youth between the ages of 6 to 24 with employment and positive youth development programs. We have after-school programs. And we are particularly proud of our Saturday STEAM program. So I'm here tonight to speak to that briefly. I know you guys have been very, very patient this evening, but our Saturday STEAM programs are held at the library, and they're 6-week programs, and we've been able to, with this initiative, introduce our young people to robotics, coding, animation, the list goes on. And I think that with the funding, hopefully, we can continue to do these things. Our young people need to be introduced to STEAM. That is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And we serve thousands of young people every year. And I think that if we can continue these, our young people will be able to, grow up and find jobs, be self-sufficient, and hopefully contribute to the city of Mount Vernon, come back and give back to the city of Mount Vernon. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic on to one of my colleagues, and she's going to talk to you about one of our other programs to help our young people. Thank you.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. And because of the essence of time, I'm not going to use my old 4 minutes. I'm going to keep it brief and quick. 1 minute. And I'm Debbie Burrell Butler. I'm the Youth Employment Director for the Youth Bureau when it comes to youth employment. And I have the pleasure of serving 1,000 kids, me personally. The Youth Bureau serves more than that, approximately 6,000. But as I hear tonight, I've heard from the Boys and Girls Club, the Recreation, the Health Center, and many others. And my kids are some of the kids that you see and implement in your everyday program at the health center, the dole center, everywhere. They're fluctuated within the city because we believe that no kid should be left behind. And we believe the same opportunity that you guys have becoming executive directors, commissioners, mayors, that my program helped for them to dream big and even bigger. And within my program, they get job readiness training. They get hours of work, hands-on working experience. They're introduced to different genre of work. I'm not knocking nurses, doctors, lawyers, but they're introduced to other stuff, being an engineer, a brain surgeon. The gap doesn't stop there, but we're faced with a problem at this situation because recently, as you could tell, the minimum wage is being increased. Now it's $11 an hour. The city only gives me $51,000 for the entire year. And if I should have kids working in the summer, that's only 33 kids. 33 kids. I depend on the CDBG grant for money to come into the Youth Bureau so I could provide the opportunity for over 200 youth to get this opportunity and being employed. Setting a firm, strong foundation. I think that was less than 1 minute. But here's the thing, we do not discriminate. We service kids who are at risk, probation, parole, straight A student, failing student, everybody. You know, if you're in here, my door is always open. I do not judge, and just like Obama said, no kids left behind. No kid left behind when it comes to the Youth Bureau. And so I ask you to continue. Thank you. I just have to call up 3 reverends first. Reverend Wilson, Reverend Pennicock, and Reverend Walls. Are you guys here to speak?
Good evening, Commissioner. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here representing Grand Centennial Community Development Corporation. We provide services to youth, STEM training, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You heard the president speak last night about how low unemployment is among African Americans. What he failed to tell you is that the unemployment statistics only take into account for those that are looking for jobs. Those who have given up already because they don't have the skill set are no longer counted. We provide the skill set. Hopefully Mount Vernon is one that wins the Amazon location, but certainly Mount Vernon residents can have the skill set to do this. We also provide services in housing development. I heard a young lady speak earlier about the need for housing, and so we develop housing, and so we provide housing for working families to have a place to live with dignity. And so we would love to have support of Mount Vernon CDBG to support both of our programs. Thank you very much for the time.
Good evening, my name is Gwen Wilson. I'm the pastor of Will of the Master Ministries here in Mount Vernon, New York. We are here to present to you the Nehemiah Project. And most of you, or some of you may know that Nehemiah was in the Bible, and he held a very important position for the king. He received a letter that Jerusalem, which was his home, was in ruins. He made a decision to go to the king and asked him to release him to go back to build the walls of Jerusalem. And so as he began to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, the place that he loved, lives begin to change. So this Nehemiah project that we present is the rebuilding of fallen walls, which are lives. Young people whose lives have been ruined, have been destroyed by domestic violence, by emotional trauma, by verbal abuse, by rape and molestation, by homelessness, orphans, foster care, poverty. These are the things that we deal with on a regular. These are the people that we have in our ministry. These are the people that are going through traumas in their lives. And our endeavor, our project is to open doors of opportunities to men and women, young and old, to receive both educational and vocational resources. This includes, but is not limited to, our staff educators training and preparing these young people on how to get jobs, how to prepare for interviews, how to dress for an interview, preparing them to get GEDs. We have a summer day program that gives young people the opportunity to do educational things, cultural things, field trips. Most of them are from single parent homes, so the church has been funding this because we don't want the children to feel left out if they can't afford to come to the camp. So we are asking you to help us to promote this program. We also help young people to prepare for jobs, prepare them for their GED, things that are going to make them better citizens, that are going to rebuild the walls of their lives so that they can be productive citizens to their community and go on and do great things. So we ask you, we implore you to please help us, work with us, give us the opportunity to help more children to be better citizens, better people, and to rebuild the walls of their lives. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My Mary in his absence, Commissioner. A pleasant goodbye to everyone. I'm basically here. My name is Marcia Pennicott, Reverend Marcia Pennicott from the Elam Church of God in Mount Vernon. I'm here to talk for a few minutes about a program that we offer there called the Elam Women Empowering Program. It's basically a program that's offered to any woman that visits the church that hides behind the mask. A forum that is designed to share experiences to help other desolate women, hurting women, abused women, etc. The program is hosted once per month. We cater to women behind their mask, women who are coming in the church, who are shouting, praising the Lord, but behind that, there's a whole lot going on in their heads. We talk about things such as, what do you do when you hit bottom? Words that lingers in your head, and how do you deal with them? We talk about techniques and skills and how to survive. And topics that includes things such as anger, facing the fire that's within, the secret storms that we go through, making peace with our past, and the freedom of letting go. We have realized over the years that many people who come to church put on a facade. We make it look all right, we make it feel all right, we jump, we shout, because that's what we're there to do. But what I've found is that behind all that, there is so much hurt. So what we've hosted is a program that gets together with other women. We talk about different things that's behind the scene, and we share our experiences. And through this, we found that we're able to help educate women, help them to be back on their feet. Many are so abused and so hurt that they refuse to speak with anyone. But with the gifts and talents and the anointing that's on my life, I firmly believe that each woman and every woman should never be left behind and suffer in silence. That being said, whatever the city can afford to offer us, we're open. We've been doing it for the last 12 years with no assistance from anywhere, but I've often believed that destiny always finds you at the right time.
So I cut off the Youth Bureau. Apologies for that. Thank you for your patience. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Chanel Giles, and I don't know how many of you know that there is a youth board of trustees that helps support the Youth Bureau. I am a member, one of the members there. We lost 2 who were elected to city council. Maybe some of you guys aren't aware of that. We would like to say thank you for the continued support that has been given by the city, by the council, by the mayor, to support our youth in the youth employment program, which is what I'm talking about today. As of last year, I don't know how many of you are around my age, we used to be able to work at the age of 14. We can go to McDonald's, Burger King, whatever stores, the age of 16 and get a job, which would keep us occupied after school. As of last year, certain companies, such as Old Navy, the Staples, because I've spoken to them, so I'm speaking because I went out and asked them why they're not hiring our kids. They are leery of the insurance because they think the kids can only work a certain amount of hours and they don't want to be responsible for them after 7:30 p.m. So instead of them just cutting it down, they just don't hire them. The Youth Bureau's employment program is very important because it gives these kids an opportunity to earn an income. It gives these kids a sense of independence, and it also gives them skills, real skills. They have real interviews. I know, I was a director of HR and I interviewed these kids before we hired them. Unfortunately, we can't hire all of them. Every year, the number gets smaller and smaller. Now, we're not just asking for a handout. I myself held a fundraiser in November at the Aqua to help support the Youth Bureau because it takes $1,200 to employ one kid for the summer, $800 to employ them for the fall, and $800 to employ them for a few months in the spring. These kids come and you guys don't know. They can walk around and think, oh, they have on nice sneakers, nice clothes. These kids work for it. They come and they interview and it's supposed to be professional. Sometimes they break down. They have no food. They use this job to support their families, to help supplement an income that as they walk around, we don't know that's not there. They tell me they want to be biochemical engineers. These kids want to be things that I never thought that I could even think of to do. This is my daughter here. She started working with the Youth Bureau as a CIT at 13 years old. She's now 16. She's a junior at Mount Vernon High School. Her sister graduated Mount Vernon High School last year. She's now in Maryland in college for forensic nursing. That was because of the Youth Bureau, some of the youth employment program. Okay? My daughter here, she used to want to be a dermatologist. She worked with Friendship for Tattoo. The pastor spoke earlier. Now she wants to be a teacher. So I think it's important for her to come here because a lot of the budget cuts or things will be affecting her in her future career. So she needs to know what a union is, what to stand up, what she would have to do. I know some of these kids want to talk and I don't want to take up their time, but I wanted you guys to see this is just a fraction of who we represent and we're just a board. And as of this year, we're actually bringing on 7 of the youth to be on our board so we can hear what their needs are and not just assume or think of what we need. So again, we didn't get any relief cuts last year, and again, we are implementing more fundraisers. So I don't care if I raise $1, $100, $50, it goes into the pot and it goes to towards whatever events we need. I make baskets. I don't know if you saw me at City Fest, 2 baskets to raffle off. The support from the community was great. And I would just like to say thank you and for your continued support. And we do have openings for the board because we lost some members. And if you're interested or you want to know about it, you can come to me, you can ask me. I'm on Facebook. I'm always I have no problem with it. Let me say something. Thank you.
I'm a parent, and my son has benefited greatly from the youth department. This is a program that's greatly needed. He's about to graduate high school and go to college, and I can tell you, he contributes. He contributes to his education, that he does. And pays for his transportation back and forth, and that's possible from working here at the Youth Bureau. So we greatly appreciate it. They have kept him steadily employed since he was a freshman. He's now a senior, and Ms. Debbie is right. These are her kids, absolutely.
The Youth Bureau has provided my daughter with stability and independence. She's able to experience the financial aspect of life with strength and understanding of the value of money. Being able to work since the age of 14 through the Youth Bureau, she is better prepared for the future in knowing what it means to create a budget. The Youth Bureau has been a safety net for after school, a learning process, and an advancement to make better decisions in life. The money that goes to the Youth Bureau makes a significant difference on our children's future. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is James Brown. I've worked with the Youth Bureau for over 5 years now. I'm 28 at the moment. Sorry. Yes, I can say I've met amazing people with the Youth Bureau, such as Ms. Deborah Butler, Ms. Dana Williams, Mr. Woodbury, and Mr. John Woodbury, who couldn't be here today. They have given me so much skills, to give me so many skills and opportunities to work and volunteer in various different places, and I love it. I work on an after-school program now, and I can say these kids are awesome. They can with the program that they have, they can definitely use extra money for trips. They can use it for extra activities, more sports. They can use it for more extracurricular activities. I really would love to get back to the community since they've given me so much personally. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's supported me, as in Ms. Butler, Ms. Dana Williams, and Mr. Woodbury, and etc. It's a lot of other people. So thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Anthony Boyd. I haven't actually worked for the Youth Bureau, but I have volunteered for the drug program now. And I can say that when you come out of school, depending on what high school you go to, and you don't have to go home until 5 o'clock, and you don't have anything to do in between the period between you walking home and getting off of school, it's very easy to get in trouble. And when you're doing something when you're in one of the youth programs that they have in the Youth Bureau, you don't have time to be doing stuff like that because you're either working or you're in some sports and you're with your friends and stuff like that. And you just don't have time to. I'm sorry about coming.
My name is Jalen O'Neill. I am currently 18. I am a high school graduate of Mount Vernon High School, and I'm here on behalf to support the Mount Vernon Youth Bureau. And I've been working for the Youth Bureau for about 1 to 2 years now, and I have to say that they've been so beneficial, not only to my friends and my family, but myself as well. Because honestly, before I got my high school diploma, looking for a job is literally the hardest thing ever. The Youth Bureau has been so beneficial. They've helped me support my family. Sometimes we may not have everything to eat. Sometimes it's really hard sometimes, to be honest. And the Youth Bureau has really been beneficial for the past about 2 years now. And honestly, I would say why not? Because even a few hundred kids to support. I'm sorry if I stutter sometimes, it's kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous. But to be honest, Youth Bureau is really great, and even your donation or whatever you can give to help out my city will be great. Because to be honest, a good 100 people, a good 200 people to benefit, they will really appreciate it because you don't know what they could be going through. See me as an experience because to be honest, I've been through it, and the Youth Bureau has really been so beneficial, and they're really great people to work with. And like, to be honest, I really appreciate it.
I need to call up the legal services of the Hudson.
Good evening to the committee, the mayor. My name is Jill Bradshaw Soto, and I'm the attorney in charge of the Mount Vernon Office of Legal Services of the Hudson Valley. First, I'd like to thank the city of Mount Vernon and most importantly, Mayor Richard Thomas for his support of the work we're doing here in Mount Vernon. It is because of your support that we've been able to assist so many families here in the city with a focus on eviction prevention and family stability. The monies we have received thus far have allowed us to continue our Mount Vernon City Court legal program. From our offices on First Street, we have seen firsthand the devastation that befalls families when they are rendered homeless. In 2017, we opened 500 new cases while closing 521 cases that we already had open, impacting more than 35,000 individuals. These numbers reflect the prevention of homeless families and overcoming improper denials of public assistance and unemployment benefits. The results that we obtained in these cases foster family stability, which translates into neighborhood stability. There is no other agency that does the work that we do for these families. There are no other attorneys that are taking these cases free of charge or even providing legal advice. The clients that we represent are not just statistics. They are your neighbors, your families, your friends. Oftentimes they are victims of domestic violence seeking to stabilize their lives. As the sole provider of free civil legal services, we are the only safety net for these families. The work that my staff does saves both the city of Mount Vernon and the county thousands of dollars by preventing homelessness and making sure that families are maximizing their income, especially those that are derived from federal dollars. On behalf of my staff and our clients, we sincerely thank you for your continued support. We are asking that you consider providing legal services of the Hudson Valley funding at levels that would allow us to continue and expand our Mount Vernon City Court legal program. This program allows tenants to obtain legal assistance at the very beginning of their landlord-tenant proceeding. Additionally, it allows us to represent clients in other legal matters that may impact a family's ability to maintain its housing. So as you commence the difficult task of allowing dollars and balancing your budget, we ask that you consider the successful track record of legal services of the Hudson Valley and our continued commitment to the city of Mount Vernon and its most vulnerable citizens. Thank you for your time and attention.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Turnquist Jones, and I am a member of St. John Paul and Clemens Church. Can y'all hear me? Because I know the room is packed. So I am representing the St. John Paul and Clement Summer Camp. The summer camp started 42 years ago. So I'm going to be 50 this year. So I went to the summer camp at the age of 8. So the personalization in regards to the summer camp is something dear to me. So last year we were able to make sure that the camp counselors received certified CPR training. And that means that if they're able to do CPR with the children during the summer, then they can also do CPR with individuals who are in the community. So that's one of the things of making sure that the campers, the camp counselors, that they are able to do something when they leave the camp. Another thing that we made sure was that a New York City Department of Education teacher was hired and taught the counselors how to help students with tutoring them in mathematics and literacy, right? And what happened there was that students would come in with their summer packets, and the children would be able to sit down with them. And what we did was that we split them up, single gender. So we had all the males on one side, all the females on the other side. And when you came in there in the morning, you had sustained silent reading as well as them being helped out with their packets. One of the things that our students do, and I heard the lady mention it, is that we take walks in the community. And one of the walks is to the local farmers market that they have. Another thing is that they go and play tennis at Warrior Field. Another thing is that they go and swim. They also do field trips to museums. But in order to do that, we have to make sure that we have our busing. In regards to paying our counselors, just to let you know, the majority of our counselors end up going to college. Large portion of them. So I went to college, they're going to college. And so the idea of it is for them to also be an example for the little campers that we provide services for. We have mothers who come who are unable to pay for their children, and we let them go for free, but we need to also pay the counselors. We also started having, within the past 3 years, English language learners. So in an education sense, those are called students who are L students. So the students who are come from another country and are trying to acquire the English language. So those campers who are regular students in high school, and now we have a lot who are in college and they come back and work with us, they are able to sit down and work with the students who attend Mount Vernon schools on acquiring the English language. All right, and so the last thing is for us to start getting our campers to also be certified swim instructors, because when they go to the pool, it limits the time that we have at the pool because we don't have certified swim instructors. Once again, I was a camp counselor there, and I also was a camper. So it's St. John Paul and Clemens Church. I'm gonna give a shout out to all the St. John Paul and Clemens members that we have in state and time. And we just want to continue our funding, and we want to make sure that our camp counselors are paid for, and that they have a little stipend to go back to college with, and that the campers that are there get a lifetime of memories that they will continue on with. Thank you kindly, and have a great day.
Good evening. My name is Mark Murray. I'm the Vice President of the Westchester Jets youth football team based out of Mount Vernon. We play in Rockland County Pop Warner League. 4 years ago, we started with a team and a half. About a total of 24 kids. This past August, I had 4 teams with a total of 82 kids ranging from ages 5 to 13 years old. I was excited to see 82 kids, but when I started looking for equipment, I noticed that it was a lot shorter than 82, maybe around like 40-ish. Being that I created some good relationships within Pop Warner, I reached out to New Rochelle and asked them to borrow helmets. Vernon, New Rochelle, if you know football, that's a big rivalry. So me asking New Rochelle to give us some purple helmets destroyed me being an alumni. But for the kids, I had to do what I needed to do. We needed uniforms. 2 more teams was added on this year. Treasure wanted to kill me. There was no extra equipment for the season.
Most of my children are either 3, 4, or 5 years old. They get referred to me from the Mount Vernon City School District. Parents do not have to pay for therapy for their child. It's actually the law that school districts need to provide therapy if a child needs it. Though the school district provides therapy and the children come and they sit down and I do all these therapeutic interventions, there are things that will help the child in the classroom. But the burden for those things, to buy those, we call it adaptive equipment, is on the parents. And most of these parents can't afford it. A lot of our children are from low-income families. We get a lot of referrals from UPK. And these 2 things right here, which I'll explain in a minute, they're $60. These things aren't mass-produced because they're for special needs children. So it's not like there's an aisle in Toys R Us where you could go pick this up. It's therapy stores that sell these things, so they're kind of pricey. This is a wiggle seat. It's something you can put on a child's seat where it allows them to sit and wiggle in their seat instead of rolling on the floor, crawling under the table. In circle time, they're bumping into one another on the circle. They can just wiggle in their seat. If the child is disrupting class by getting up and going under the table or rolling around, they're not learning. This allows them to sit in their seat, wiggle in their seat while they focus. There's a lot of neurological components that go into why a child with an attention deficit needs to move and wiggle, but stationary wiggling will help them focus.
Before you leave, what organization are you with? I'm sorry.
I own a private practice.
Okay. You can say the name of the organization.
Yeah. Smile a While Occupational Therapy Services, 105 Stevens Avenue. This is a slant board. This is used with children who struggle with handwriting. When we write, we hold a pencil a certain way. It's called a dynamic tripod grasp, and we have wrist extension. This helps support children who struggle with that. It's purposely putting a child's forearm in that position. So children who don't have this, when they're hunched over, they're writing like this, it doesn't support good handwriting. Again, it's a simple piece of cardboard, but this cost me $30. I use these things in my therapy practice, but what good is it if the child could sit down in my therapy practice and perform well at therapy, but then go back to school and they don't have this there?
Right.
So I'm asking the city for not money for my private practice, for money for the children who are referred to therapeutic services, for money to help the parents buy these things. And these are only 2 adaptations. There are lots that we can just give to the children who qualify for these services so they can have it in their classroom.
Very nice.
Good evening, commissioners, and for the mayor. All right. When you're at the end of the line for youth services, you've heard all of the things that we need to do for youth. I am here, my name is Ian Cruikshank. I am representing ECM Centres, Emmanuel Children's Mission, which is the school next to Chase Bank. And this is really to talk about the fact that we've established that one of Mount Vernon's pressing needs is for high quality early childhood care and for high quality after school programs. So I'm not going to bore you with all that you've heard today. So I am asking that the city does consider ECM for one of the CDBG grants so that we too can contribute towards providing low-income families with a high-quality care, because often many parents come to us, it's not that they don't want for their children to attend the centre, whether it be before school, after school, or even in the early childhood care, but they simply cannot afford it. And as a self-funded organisation, we are reaching out to you for funds so that we can assist these families in order so that they can obtain this high-quality care. All right, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rosalind Wood Hilton, and I am here on behalf of the Macedonia After-School Program. The Macedonia After-School Program is a free program provided for grades 1 through 6. We provide homework assistance and remediation in English and math. Additionally, I would like to give a little shout out to the Westchester Food Bank because they administer the Backpack Program, which is one of their programs which provides assistance and food for these low-income families. And I can tell you that there are people that say it is very helpful to help them get over the hump where they are running out of money as well as food. We are a state certified program. Additionally, we have a summer program which provides academic assistance and cultural enrichment field trips. We help the children take them to the library. They obtain their library cards. And in other words, we just provide them with things that they are unable to get at home. And I thank you for
We were actually going to do a chant, but we are the housing folks. The need for housing. I started in this business 35 years ago, and it hasn't gotten any easier. It should have. There's homelessness. There's a whole variety of housing issues, rentals that aren't affordable, home ownership that's unattainable. And while we could try to do everything all at once, we simply can't. So our mission right now, I'm the executive director of Allied Community Enterprises, is to look at, we think of zombie houses and try to either reconfigure them or take those zombie houses down and get new affordable housing. So that is what we do. And we are a CHODO, which means that we're a community housing development organization. So we work with the local community, and I'm really looking forward to working with you all because, wow, you have a great community. So thank you.
Thank you. So my name is Jeffrey Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of Westchester Residential Opportunities of White Plains. And we're thankful to be here. We're thankful for a long-standing relationship with the City of Mount Vernon. And we offer a continuum of housing services from first-time home buying to retention of your home. So when I say retention of your home is we offer rental assistance for folks that are being evicted up to 4 months of rental arrears. And we also do that for the same thing with utility assistance. The thing and we do mortgage foreclosure counseling as well, but the thing I really want to emphasize tonight is fair housing. Because I think it needs to be a priority in the city. Westchester Residential Opportunities was founded 50 years ago, the same year the Fair Housing Act was formed, right? And we came about in Westchester because people of color were not allowed to get a mortgage from banks that made traditional loans. So we were able to give mortgages to people of color so they could purchase a home in Westchester County. And that has not changed significantly because on a regular basis, we receive housing complaints, fair housing complaints, lending complaints. And it's not just that, but also rental as well. And I'll give you a quick example so I don't run over my time. We're getting complaints from folks that are on Section 8, where a landlord in Mount Vernon is saying, you have to earn at least twice the portion of your piece of the Section 8 voucher before it can afford you to live here. If they were earning twice that much, they wouldn't be on Section 8, right? So you might not hear about it because these landlords are doing it in a subtle way. And if we are not around to investigate these things and help folks, unfortunately, you're going to lose a lot of residents from the city of Mount Vernon to other places. And I think you want to build your community, you want housing to remain in Mount Vernon. So having said that, I'm hoping that you consider fair housing as a priority in your housing activities because it's key to the sustainability of affordable housing in the county. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? Yes. Come on up. Thank you for being so patient. Thank you for asking.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Angela Hall, and I am the resident musical theater teacher. I teach voice, drama, and acting, as well as a little tap at the Performing and Visual Arts Magnet School. And thank you for giving me this time. Thank you to the mayor, to everyone here on the board of commissioners. Standing on behalf of Evelyn Collins, who is the director of the gifted and the talented, as well as the director of the arts for the entire Mount Vernon City School District. A lot of people, we are in the business of educating children in the arts. I don't know if any of you got to see The Lion King Jr. this past weekend, but we do theater well. The mayor has supported us, he's come to our shows, he's visited my classroom, to see a little performance, and we want to encourage and continue that vein for adults. So I'm proposing on behalf of Evelyn Collins, something for the adults of Mount Vernon that meets the needs of people who are downhearted, who are in low-income families, who are dejected, disabled, homeless. There is something about theater that speaks to the very heart, the spirit, the mind, the body, and helps to create that whole person. And if an adult can be trained well in theater, they can earn a living doing commercials and the like. But I mean, there's just so many things that theater does. There's data, research, scientific findings. It builds your mind, your body, your spirit. It speaks to self-expression, self-knowledge. It teaches history. It cultivates your spirit and builds interpersonal and interpersonal skills. It helps you understand people from different cultures. It can ignite and social change. I mean, there's just so much. I mean, I can go on and on. Children who learn how to play an instrument, who learn about the theater, fare better in science and in math. It's just scientifically proven. It's not something to be made up. And we really want to have an initiative for adults, because so many adults say, hey, what about us? You know, and they've come forth, and I think that having a Mount Vernon theater company for adults, a Mount Vernon children's repertory company, a place where people can learn. We have Denzel Washington, Dick Clark, DMX, people that were born here, and just like we do sports, I think we do theater too. And I think it would be great to just have an opportunity to build that up and to find and tap into those individuals who will never be able to afford taking class at DTH or be able to afford taking class in the city, or for that matter, to get into the city, to take class. And so I think our program can partner with the homeless programs, with the after-school programs. Thank you for your time, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Are there any final speakers? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Thank you for those who are still sitting in the room who've been here from the beginning.
You get special finance.
Yeah, this was a great event, and we got to hear about a lot of programs, and we're going to, as Sylvia said, it's going to be transcribed, and we will review it and make our determinations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sylvia, Chantel, what am I going to say? Good night.
Okay, you're close.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The reprogramming of the funds, what is that all about? What are you going to do and how are you going to go about that? Because that's what a lot of us were here to hear. What are your goals, or what are you trying to do to reprogramming of the fund from 2015, 16, or 2014, 15, and 16? Because a lot of us applied for those grants and never got any word whatsoever from you regarding those funds. And I'm just questioning now, it's all over and you haven't said anything about it.
So this was an opportunity to hear from the community about proposals and what we should be doing with the funds that need to be aligned with what is in our consolidated plan around the goals that were put together based on stakeholder input. We are at this point taking in all the considerations. We are doing our due diligence to make sure that any organization that was part of the action plan that did the work receives any outstanding funds out there. We have to do that to make sure that we're in compliance. What we're going to do, and this predates all of us here. The commissioner started a month or two ago. December. I have been here assisting the city since May, so it predates all of us. So what we're trying to do is a couple of things. One, create transparency. Two, make sure that any outstanding monies that are owed to any organization that did work is paid to those organizations.
And how are you going to go about that? That's what I came here to hear, and I heard nothing about that.
What we're going to do is, there was an annual action plan by year submitted.
You're getting a lot of feedback.
Submitted, is this good? That was submitted to HUD that said these are the organizations that will be awarded funds. HUD had to approve it in order for us to receive those funds. So now we're going back to make sure that organizations that are owed money they get those funds to them. We are also, based on the input we have received, we will have to put together recommendations on how to allocate funds. We will put that out there to the community for public comment. And then we will, based on the public comment we receive, which will be out for 30 days, then we will allocate those funds. So we're trying to make sure we create transparency. We're trying to make sure that we address outstanding operations and program compliance issues, and that the community is integrally involved every step of the way moving forward in this process. I cannot speak to what has happened in the past. That's why we have a special counsel. That's why we have, all of the stuff that's happening. But what I can say to you is, moving forward, from the present to the forward to moving forward, we are going to have a transparent process.
So I just want to jump in. If you are representing an organization or know of an organization that is saying that they received funds or received a grant,
Did not receive.
Okay, so you submitted a proposal, you did not receive funds.
Nor any type of information regarding it or anything else, and then it's like it just disappeared, and then the following year, it came back. So like, I'm trying to figure out like, what happened?
Do you know the name of the organization?
Yes, but right now.
You don't want to say. So listen, I have my card on me. You should contact me and let me know what organization you're referring to so I can do some research on what happened, and I'll give you the information. Right now, as Sylvia said, we are both new here, so we're trying to figure out.
One more thing. I just want to make sure that my understanding of this is correct. If these funds are not spent within a certain amount of time, is it true that these funds have to be given back to the organization that gave out those funds? Is that a true statement?
So for years 2014, 15, and 16, if they are not spent within a certain number of years, they will go back to the U.S. Treasury.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Correct. So we are making...
Which is one of the reasons why we're here today, to prevent that from happening, because we have to get public input before we can, reprogram these monies, because we're not sure exactly what happened.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. That's very good. So there are two pots of money, if you will. One is the new money for 2018, and I assume that's the application for March 2018 that you're going to have us apply for. For the money that was not spent, it was allocated, but now it's being recaptured and now being reallocated. How are you going to receive applications? Are you going to use the old applications, or are you going to do a new application for that money that needs to be spent relatively quickly also?
So we're planning to do a new application process. So that is why we have this hearing here.
So all the people that did before, their applications basically have been thrown out the window, and you're going to start this all over again?
No, that's not what we're saying. If you submit an application and you already have that application, we can reconsider it.
Okay.
So that's what we're asking.
That's what we're asking.
Yes. You can resubmit that application to this new body that's here, and we can review it. But if you're referring to applications in the past, I'm not sure, who reviewed it, which commissioner.
Right. So you're not.
So you're not
You're not going back to the old application for consideration for new funds.
No.
Got it. And right. So you're going to put out there, this application process will indicate that there are funds from 14, 15, 16, 17 that need to be handled, and then there's an application for the 2018 fund as well.
So there's two different applications.
Okay.
But Commissioner, can I interject? But there are applications that are out there which have been approved that she's going to look at and see where the money is and whether or not can they be revived or not. So your application may be
only for those that have received awards.
So what we're going to do is provide additional guidance moving forward, and we are working very closely with HUD to make sure that we're in compliance. And our commitment to you is we're going to over-communicate and let you know where we are and what we're doing, and provide community and have public input on these funds and how we reprogram them, repurpose them, following what the goals in the consolidated plan are. And you have that, it's posted on our website. Our commitment is we have to work very closely with HUD to address all of these issues, to make sure that we meet the thresholds and the requirements and give you a 30-day public comment period for those funds. That is our commitment, but understand that we're walking into this, we're trying to address outstanding issues that go years and that we weren't here for. And this is why we have this online survey, and that's never been done here in the city of Mount Vernon. It hasn't been done in Westchester County. Other jurisdictions do it, but we're doing it here in Mount Vernon. We're leading the way, and we're changing the narrative with your help.
Once you have compiled information from this evening as well as the survey information, will there be another opportunity for public comment on how decisions will be made?
Yes. Yes.
So that's detailed in the PowerPoint. I think we said May, right? Is it May 2018?
So for the 2018 so once the applications for 2018 have been submitted, and we will have a CDBG committee made up of citizens who live in the CDBG district, city agency staff, foundations and other organizations who will be part of this panel that will review it. I will not be part of that. The commissioner will not be part of that. It will be a group that comes together to do that and provide recommendations to the URA.
Thank you.
And that also has never been done.
That's just what 2018.
Correct.
If funds are given.
We're going to continue, we will continue moving forward as if there will be funds until we are told otherwise. We have to do that under the assumption that they will be available based on the fact that we have a deadline of August 16th to submit a CDBG annual action plan for 2018. So we need to continue moving forward. What we've done this year is we're starting this process very early to give you all an opportunity to provide input. So it's not a week or 2 weeks, but it's 30 days for the initial, what you think we should be doing, have an application out for 30 days, have public comment for 30 days. So this process technically should take 6 to 8 months so that we have as much community input as possible. And again, that is something that's never really been done, and we're doing that now.
Thank you.
Thank you.